Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping back again. Thank you guys for all the love and support you have shown me. If you want to become part of the family, make sure you click that red subscribe button. So today guys, I'm bringing you the people's favorite. Guess what? It's Faith Talks. Yes guys, so today I'm bringing you another episode of Faith Talks, and today we are doing Faith Talks with a bit of a twist. So I decided that I'm gonna do a story time, but it's also a testimony of an experience that I've gone through in my life, right? When we were going. So I just thought I should share my experience with you guys and hopefully encourage somebody that is going through the pits, somebody that is living in Pittsville right now, to just come back and know that it does get better.
His body baby, oh.
Okay guys, so I decided to share one of my experiences that was a very defining moment for my life, and also a time when I got to understand that God truly works things together for our good, number one, but that also God is in control of our lives, and that regardless of what we are going through, He'll always be there for us, okay? So this was back in 2013 when I was doing my final year at the University of Cape Town. And listen, baby girl was a graduate. I was graduating, okay? Come rain, come hell, come sunshine, I was getting that degree. So guys, it was literally 2013 this time. So what happened was, in our final year at UCT, I was studying occupational therapy. And what happened was that in the final year we have what we call electives, and this is where you choose a hospital that you want to go do your practice, your practicals at. And some people choose this based on what they want to do in future, and so, or where they want to work. And so I chose a hospital that I wanted to work at, which was Lebogomo Hospital, and I chose it also because it's closer to home and that I wouldn't really struggle when doing my practical, right? Okay, so that was the plan. So I applied at Lebogomo Hospital and I got accepted for my elective, and I was really excited about it. And so when my June vacation came, I was really excited to go home and do it. But before that, I invited my brother to come over and see me. But the thing was that he came at a time when Cape Town is not really tourist friendly, and that is June, guys, when it's really cold. And yeah, so he came, so we did a lot of outdoorsy activities, and so baby girl caught a flu. I caught a flu, and then I nursed myself back to health because I knew that the following week I had to then go home and do my elective, right? So I nursed myself, but my flu was not completely eradicated, so I still had like a runny nose, and I still had like some symptoms, but the majority of it, like the painful body and whatever, and the headaches were gone. So fine, I get home, Monday comes, and then baby girl is excited. I go to the hospital, like, listen, I'm here, your fave is here. And then I met like some other occupational therapists who were actually doing their community service, and so I was like, listen, this is gonna be me next year at this very hospital. What do you mean? And I was so excited, you guys. Like, I was so excited. So come the elective, obviously we do a lot of practicals and whatever. And what happened was that while I was doing my practicals, we happened to visit the male medical ward, I think, and there were TB patients, or the TB ward, I don't know. And like everybody was just walking around casually, and then I asked the OT that was supervising me if I don't need to put on a mask. She's like, no, you don't need to. Well, she's gone in and out of that ward a lot of times, and that I don't really need to. She didn't catch the TB, so I don't need to worry about that. But baby girl forgot that immune system is on a zero. And so my immune system was obviously weak because I had caught a flu a week before, and I was still actually trying to recover. But when I tell you, all of that flew out the window when that happened, guys, Like, wow. Anyway, so we go through the ward rounds in the TB ward, and you know, they go through the different patients and what they have and whether they're recovering, what medication they're on. And that was looking pretty and like, you know, looking pretty and intelligent. And I was like, listen, I'm here, right? Sharp. Okay, guys, so fine. So we went through the rounds and, you know, we were, doing the most. Then, fine. Then the elective went by, and then, at the end of the week or the week following, no, at the end of the week, I had to fly back to Cape Town. And so I went back to Cape Town, and, you know, it was a good time. Life continued as normal. So that time of my studies, we were doing practical. So we had the last block, which is the last practical block, a 7 weeks at a certain placement that they place you. And I was placed at a school. Because I was doing my pediatrics block, and so I was placed at a school, and so that was that. And so we went on with this block, and then like midway through the block, I started realizing that I get cold, like I get chills, and then I would have like night sweats, which I didn't really make much of it until much later. And I had headaches, like very terrible headaches, like no Panado or painkiller could take those headaches away. It was terrible. I had what do you call, I had shortness of breath, right? Like I couldn't walk say 500 meters, guys, not even kilometer, like 500 meters without stopping and catching my breath. And this whole time I'm thinking, no, I'll be fine, I'll get better, you know, no problem. And the thing is, guys, like at that time I'm obviously very excited about graduation. I'm like, oh my god, this journey is finally coming to an end. I only have 2 months to graduation. What a blast, right? And I'm thinking, yay, there's things coming up, there's like the formal coming up. So our exams were ending mid-November, like the 15th of November, and then we had a final year formal on the 30th of November. And now we are fast forward to round about this time last year, which is September, not last year, in 2013. And then Miguel starts feeling like ill, and so these symptoms are obviously building up and they're not getting better, and I'm just like, what's going on? But I'm not making much of it because your girl and doctors aren't friends, okay? So I was just in denial. Then eventually I was like, no man, let me go to the hospital, because I told my mom, I was like, listen, I'm not getting better and I have flu. But at that point, guys, I was in grinding mode. You know, when you're just working and you don't pay attention to yourself and your body and what it needs. I was in that mode, but I'd like keep calling home and just checking in with my mom, and she said, no man, go and consult. So she sent me money, and then I went and consulted. I went to a doctor, and she just did the thing. She just, you know, checked my lungs and like used the stethoscope and like, you know, and then she gave me, I remember well, like it was yesterday, she gave me Brufen, paracetamol, Panado, and she's like, baby girl, go home, you'll be fine. Anyway, so she did her job apparently. Fine, I went back to Xrays, and then a week later, I'm just like, I'm not getting better, right? The Sunday I went to church, and then you know, I was still complaining about the same symptoms. And then one of my friends was like, listen, there's this doctor at UCT Wellness, which is like a UCT clinic for students that are ill or stuff. And she's like, there's this doctor, Dr. Goff, go to him. He's really good. He specialized, I think he's a pulmonologist. And so he was like the best guy to see me. Guys, I went there I had a 12 o'clock appointment, went to see him. And I mean, even this time, I'm just like, listen, this needs to happen fast so that I can concentrate on my studies. It was basically like doing a thorough examination, like any doctor should do, okay? And Shame, I must commend him. He was literally the best and my saving grace. After the examinations, he says to me, okay, so I think you have either one of two things, that is pneumonia or TB. I'm like, baby boy, first of all, I don't have time to be sick right now. Second, it better be pneumonia, because at least you can cure it fast, because I don't have time to accommodate TB in my very busy schedule, because I'm thinking TB takes 6 months, darling. So I ain't trying for 6 months, okay? And then guys, he's like, okay, so I need to refer you to Groote Schuur. If you know Grooteskir, guys, I was just like, I ain't going there. Eventually, I'm like, giving excuses. I'm like, listen, I have exams, and I'm in the middle of a block and a clinical block, and I genuinely cannot afford to take time off. And like, is there any way we can go about this? He's like, nope. Okay, so basically, I don't have a choice. He's like, yeah, actually, you are a ticking time bomb, because the thing is, the reason you get such like a hectic headaches is because your brain is running short of oxygen, because your lungs are not working as they should, so the oxygen supply in your body is insufficient, so you can have a stroke. When he said stroke, I'm like, where I was like, I'm not having a stroke. There's no way I came to Cape Town to have a stroke, okay? So guys, he wrote me, and then he's like, if you don't want to go do the x-rays, let me just put you on antibiotics, but I don't think it's going to help you in any way, just so my conscience is clear. Fine, guys, here I am. Take the referral match to Grooteskir. I get to Grooteskir, I give them the referral letter. It says, I'm a UCT student, 4th year. Basically he took into consideration the fact that I'm stressed about time and whatever, and that they should see me as soon as they can. And then I still waited, because public health system in South Africa. Finally, I got to go and do the x-rays. And then while I was waiting there, the doctor goes through this one with lungs, right? Lungs, guys, you could literally just only see the apex of the lung, so the top part of the lung, right? And I'm looking at that lung, I'm like, wow, this person is trying. I was literally like, wow, people are sick out there. And then he goes and looks at others, and then he goes back to that lung one, and then guess what? I'm like, surely those are not my lungs. Surely. Guys, he calls my name. He's like, okay, you have fluid in your lungs, and basically it covered your whole lungs, and basically just explaining what I just saw. And he's like, we need to drain the fluid right now. I'm like, sorry? He's like, right now, baby girl, like, it's actually an emergency. I'm like, are you going to like give me anesthesia? Am I going to die in the process? Like, what's going to happen? He's like, nope, you're gonna be conscious. We're not gonna use any anesthesia on you. You're gonna be very conscious. You're gonna feel everything. And he says to me, I must warn you, it's painful, but you'll be fine. Guys, he brings the tools and whatever, and then next thing, he just choops through my left lung here. I was like, oh, what the hell? When you just experience pain that you don't even understand, I'm like, this guy is literally trying to kill me. And he drains the fluid, right? And then while I'm sitting there, so I'm sitting on this hospital bed, and I'm just sitting, and they're busy draining the fluid. And he says to me, listen, after this thing, you're going to feel so much better. You're probably going to go back to your normal self. Then, guys, he drained the fluid, and then while I'm sitting there, I just smelled this like this bodily fluid. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just smelled like bodily fluid. I'm like, and then I turned. I'm like, what's that? I turned. Guys, I found this yellow fluid that literally filled up a container this big. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell? What the actual hell? Then I turned. He was not even there, so he just put in this needle in me, and he left. I call him back. I'm like, doctor! And then he comes back. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, baby boy, this thing is sore, and you cannot be here. Do you understand? They're like, okay, fine, you can go home. Because that's another thing. I was like, I don't want to sleep here. They're like, nope, go back to rest. And then we're going to take the fluid. We'll test it, come back on Friday. Fine, Friday morning, get now. I even missed class, I remember, and I watched my friends going to class, and my heart was so sore. I went there, they like sit down, and it was another doctor, a lady doctor this time. She's like, okay, I have some bad news for you. I'm like, oh my god, oh, clearly I'm sick, I have pneumonia. She's like, then I'm like, what is it? Is it pneumonia? She's like, nope, it's TB. Guys, I died right there and there. I was like, oh my god, I have TB, I'm gonna die. Like, my whole world literally crumbled down in front of me. And I was like, then now what? She's like, well, you need to start on medication, refer 4. Guys, the pits of the pits, Pittsville. Then she's giving me 2 weeks off to go home and rest because the medication is gonna mess my life. Guys, I literally want to cry actually thinking about it today. I'm reliving it. Like, I wanted to cry, guys. Like, I was just like, God, how can you do this to me, bruh? We were in this thing together. We did the things. Why did this not come at first year, or second year, or third year? Why is it coming in final year? Not even at the beginning of the year, literally right at the end. I was so mad at God, guys. I just didn't understand. Then now flew back home. My mom was nursing. Guys, I was tired. Those pills made me tired. Like, I was exhausted half the time. Like, not even half the time, 90% of the time I was lying down. Then when I was at home, my mom would like pray for me. You know, her friends would come over, they'd pray for me, and I would feel strong, and I feel like, okay, my life is together. Then the 2 weeks was over. I had to go back to UCT. Guess what? I'm like, yes, you know, I've got the blood of the living lamb in me. I can do this. Guys, I got there. It's like I never even rested. Do you understand? Then I obviously had to get back into the swing of things. Remember, we're in the middle of a block, right? And I was so ill, you guys. I was tired. I couldn't, my endurance levels were on not nil. Like, I was not myself. I was pale. I lost a lot of weight. Like, I was crying a lot. I was in Pittsville, guys. Like, I couldn't, like, I would sit down and try study, and I would start crying because I'm tired. And it's not even that, like, you don't want to work. You want to work, but your body is just failing you. Wow, guys, like, it was just a nightmare. I remember being referred to a psychologist, and I didn't like the psychology sessions, and so I was just in the Pittsville. But then at some point I was just like, Toombs, you need to decide whether we are finishing this year, this degree this year, or whether you're actually going to just finish next year, June maybe. And something in me was just like, God, you didn't bring me this far to leave me. And guys, there was just a fighting spirit in me. I remember, like, my elder sister would like give me verses every single day because your girl was as weak as they come. That's when, like, my friends, guys, that's when I was like, wow, I actually have really good friends. I remember my friends would come and make me porridge in the morning. Guys, oh my word, I actually want to cry when I think about it. They come make me, guys, it's like, it's bekele moralo, like moralo skolong. Like, if it was possible, I remember my mom thinking if it's possible, like, for like her to come over, and then at some point she sent somebody over. Guys, it was a mess. It was an actual, like, I was a mess. But I'm so grateful to everyone who literally like took my hand at the time, like Wupe, Tilerato, Nonji, Siwe, guys. Like, they would make me food, and oh my goodness, oh my word, like, my varsity friends, I'm forever grateful to them. But the reason I'm going through all of this again, guys, is just so, not even just so, it's because I was reading the word of God in the book of Joshua, chapter 21, verse 45, and it reads, not one of all God's good promises to Israel failed. Everyone was fulfilled. And I was just thinking about the Israelites and their journey to Canaan, and how they were disobedient to God. Sometimes they would worship other gods but him. They would literally, do all these things, but God was still faithful to them. And when I read this verse, when it says, not one of all the Lord's good promises, not even God's promises in general, but all his good promises, none of them failed, but that every single one of them came to pass. And I just thought I should encourage someone to say, guys, if you're in the Pittsville, whatever you're going through right now, I promise you, it looks bleak, listen, nothing makes sense, nothing is cute, nothing is adorable. But like, trust in the promises that God made to you. Trust in them. Trust that the God who started a good work in you shall bring it to completion. Trust that God is faithful. The word of God says, even when we are faithless, he is faithful, because it goes on to say, because he cannot abandon himself. And that for me was just very reassuring to say, how many times are we actually faithless? How many times are we actually unfaithful to God, disobedient to him? How many times do we not follow his word and his instructions, but he continues to bless us anyway. And I just wanted to say, it may look like things are not making sense in your life. Life right now, it may look like God forgot the promises that he made to you. It may look like God is just not present in your life, but I just want to encourage you, and I hope you hang on to this word. I hope you're encouraged by my testimony, and the reason I was telling it is so that you see that even when God made promises, I mean, the reason I studied what I studied is because I heard from God, and it was a promise that the Lord made to me. And literally 2 months prior to me completing that promise, Satan distracted it, or the Lord allowed the devil to distract it via illness. And I found myself questioning whether God was actually doing a work in my life. But I just want to encourage you to say, even in that time, God was working things together for my good, according to his purpose, so that tomorrow when I have the degree, I'm not going around boasting and saying I did it, I did it, I studied, I, because at the very crucial time where I needed to now stand up for myself and do what needed to be done, my body failed me, but that he was faithful. And so I went on to write my exams, and I mean, adjustments had to be made for me, which again is God's favor, because if you think about it, they didn't have to. They could have just said, listen, you're sick, go home, you'll come back next year. But they literally made all the adjustments for me so that I can complete and finish my degree on time. And I remember, I think I finished maybe 3 or 4 days before graduation. I remember when we were having a results bash where they basically announce or put the list of people who passed or whatever. I remember my results were not out, guys, because I did not complete certain things, but I kept going at it at the pace that I was able to. I actually graduated on time with my peers. So that was God just showing me that, listen, he is the one that made the promise, and that he shall fulfill the promise. I hope the word was encouraging to you to say, whatever you're going through, keep pressing on. If you feel like, God, where are you in this situation? If you feel like, God, you made a promise, how can you do this? It's because God sometimes does what he does so that the glory belongs to him. That is it, guys. I just went on an emotional journey. I'm just going through the faithfulness of God in my life. I really hope this video encouraged somebody, and that you are better able to understand that God truly loves you, and that he does work things together for your good, and that he who started the work in you will bring it to completion. Thank you guys so much for joining me for yet another video. Don't forget to do all the right things. I would really love it if you smash that red subscribe button and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell next to it so that when I upload a video, YouTube can let you know. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a massive thumbs up, and don't forget to comment down below what you enjoyed most or your experiences. I see all your faith talk suggestions, and I will get through all of them. Don't forget to join me next week Friday on our new schedule, Friday at 12 p.m. with another video, and I think it's a vlog this time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and bye.